When I'm reading a good book, I find it impossible to put it down.
Friday, for many teenagers, dating and physical abuse go hand in hand.
I hit her right in the face and broke her nose.
Signs parents should look for on 2020 Friday.
For practical gifts this Christmas, look to Target.
Kathy, it's your mother.
Many embarrassing moments on this show, but today may be a little unique because even though I feel a little embarrassed the way I'm dressed, because now we're going to pull out and give you the full-length shot here, I should actually be proud to be dressed like this because my great-great-great-grandfather used to run around like this all the time, and yes, those are knees. I should be proud to have this on, but I feel a little strange. It doesn't feel like me. In our family, nobody wore kilts. Nobody talked that much about the Scottish ancestors. But in some families, heritage is everything. The traditions are carried over year after year after year. They're very proud of where they're from. And here in the state of Minnesota, when you talk about heritage and traditions and ethnic pride, automatically we assume that everybody's Swedish or Norwegian. That is not the case. Do we in our families today carry on ethnic pride and traditions and heritage, or is it just becoming lost and we're all becoming, quote, Americans? And is being an American boring? Who knows? With me today are people who believe in their ethnic pride. They believe in America, believe in the United States, but they also believe in their old country. Now, isn't it appropriate that we start with someone Swedish? Now, what are you shaking your head for? That's Margaret Nelson came here from Sweden when?
In 1966, I came to Los Angeles first and
Came to Los
stayed
An-
there for 5 years, and then I came up to Minnesota in '71.
Right, now, are you American or are you Swedish?
I'm still Swedish citizen, but I'm working on it.
Okay, but do you get lost between the two? What does ethnic pride mean to you?
Oh, I just feel it's something that we have inherited. It's roots that we want to keep alive. We don't want it to die out.
But why do we want to keep it alive? Why do we want to remember the past and remember what our countries were like?
Well, that's where everybody came from originally. We all came from the old country, and I think if we try to let it all die out, I don't really know how to explain it. It's just part of my background. And
now, how do you show your ethnic pride? I mean, you don't go dressed around like this every day.
No.
I certainly don't. I certainly don't.
No. Just by keeping the tie with Sweden, trying to speak with my Swedish friends as much as I can so I don't lose the language. And
do you find that more and more people, or less people, are trying to keep traditions and heritages carrying
No,
on?
I think it's increasing, and I'm happy to see that. I think people are becoming more and more aware of their heritage, and they want to find out more. The ones that are born in this country, for instance, they want to find out more about what their parents or their grandparents really...
It has become sort of a fascination among many people in this country. Noreen Shortall is Irish. She came over from Ireland in 1985. You haven't been here that long.
No.
No. So now, do you consider yourself Irish, or do you consider yourself an American?
Oh, no, I'm very much Irish. Yes.
So is about 95% of St. Paul, but you know. Why? I mean, are you going to continue on the things that you learned as a child in Ireland? You're going to teach those to future generations? Are you going to carry that on?
Yes, I think so. I've never had to sort of give it much thought before because it was all around me. It's a way of looking at the world, the way we see it, the values that we hold. And I think ethnic pride is to do with, well, I suppose it's a fear in one sense of being swamped by the larger countries of their view of the world. And I think that's the resurgence of interest by smaller ethnic groups into their own pride and the values they project, I think is very important.
Also with us today, Yoshi Sato.
Konnichiwa.
Yeah, whatever. I watch Shogun. That's like, thank you, isn't it? Yeah, I watch Shogun. I know that Japanese. Now, you came from Japan a couple of years ago. You teach Japanese.
Oh, yes.
In the schools here.
Yes, many schools.
So now, Japanese, very much into tradition.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, tradition plays an extremely important role in their society.
Yes.
But will it, as you stay in this country longer, will it play a role in your life? or will it slowly begin to fade?
Oh, well, to me, the very important part being a Japanese in this country is that I can take good parts of both, societies or culture. That's really interesting because both countries have negative, parts and positive parts. And being a Japanese in Japan, you cannot get away from certain things. Always you have to do certain things. But here, I'm kind of free here. And here, not being American, I don't have to follow them. I can keep my own as long as I
think. The best of both worlds.
Right. So it's really a great advantage for me.
Well, one thing's for sure, between you and I, my legs are freezing right now. Now I have great sympathy for women now during the winter in Minnesota because it gets a little breezy in this kilt. But your toes are going to freeze up.
Yes, please look.
look
How I got used to Minnesota's weather.
Now, it's not exactly jogging material, is it?
No, this is really healthy, actually, because nothing is pressing your toes. Toes should be kind of open, just like baby's toes.
Yeah.
They are open. So this is good, actually. But too bad Minnesota is a little bit too cold for this outside.
Yeah, a little bit too cold. With me now, well, we did have to bring in a couple of Norwegians. I'm sorry, but we had to let a couple of Norwegians in here today. His parents came over from Norway, a member of many Norwegian groups. Larry Hauge had a very important moment in your life just recently. As far as your Norwegian heritage, it doesn't get much better than what happened to you recently.
No, we were just honored by having the King of Norway in our home, and we really thought that was a great event. And I can tell you just a bit about our king that you'll probably find kind of interesting. The King of Norway was born in Denmark, and he was the son of Prince Karl of Denmark and the son of Prince Maud of Great Britain. So actually he's Danish and British, and his father was appointed to the throne of Norway, and then of course when his father passed away, he acceded to the throne. And I thought that's quite interesting because they had to appoint their royalty after they had their independence from Sweden.
Now, I haven't had a king in my house lately, but I mean, how do you act around a king? I mean, did you defer to him as far as, I mean, did you treat him like royalty?
We certainly did, but he was very down-to-earth, very fine individual to have in your home, and he treated the family just marvelously.
But do you feel comfortable treating someone like royalty when this country was based on doing away with royalty?
Part of the American way of life, to be good to everybody, and that's what makes us a great nation. We're a real melting pot.
What is it being Norwegian? How would you describe a Norwegian to me?
Well, he's a man.
Look at the people laughing. Now, wait a minute.
A Norwegian's a very special person. Everybody else wishes they were one.
Yeah, especially when they're dishing out that lutefisk or whatever. They really want to. We're going to talk about that later. Also with me, Thelma Buckner. Now, Thelma, you and I both came from the South. What does tradition and ethnic pride mean to you?
I think like Marcus Garvey, he was a great historian, and he said, a people without the knowledge of their past is like a tree without roots. And my upbringing in the South means everything to me. I've tried my best, and I've done a good job at it, handing down those things I learned at home with my family to my family, my children. I had a lot of people to say, you can't raise your children like your parents raised me. And I said, oh, but I can. I bet you I'm going to succeed at it. And I've done a pretty good job at it. I just like where I came from, what it was all about. And those things my parents practiced, I'm still practicing.
Well, such as? What kind of thing?
Well, take for an instance, in the morning for breakfast. How many of you eat chicken and biscuits for breakfast? Not many.
No, I don't see any hands.
Not many, but that's a regular breakfast once a week for my family. And it's usually on Saturday morning. And it has happened almost every Saturday morning. Only a few times it doesn't. And I feed not just my family, but everybody drop in. And you're welcome any Saturday morning.
I'm coming over. I mean, you're never going to see this guy turn down chicken. No.
All right.
Now, when you say passing on to your kids or whatever, I mean, do you talk about your ancestry and where you grew up and the traditions of your family to everyone that comes to your house, or?
Well, not to everyone that comes through my house, but I talk about as much as I know about my ancestors. Back in 1967, I set out to try to find my roots. Now, that was before Alex Haley, mind you. It's because my daughter brought home a assignment from school saying, Mom, I want you to fill out this family tree. And I looked at it, I thought, no problem. And I grabbed it, and I was going to start writing down my father and my mother and my grandfather and grandmother. And come to find out, I didn't know much more than that. So I took off my brother, one of my brothers, and we drove to Mississippi and started searching records to find out. And I found a lot of surprising things that I hadn't known until 1967 that I won't get into. That should be another show.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Rosanna Buick, that's not your maiden name,
No.
is Italian. Now, you mentioned, Thelma, about food and how food, in many nationalities, food is a very important aspect of it. With you, Rosanna, it's your profession. It's what you do in this country.
Yeah, I'm into food for sure. And that's the way that I guess not having children and not passing on any tradition to them, I'm passing on my own tradition food-wise to the public, being in the restaurant business and trying to stay as pure Italian as we can get.
What, now stay pure Italian, or stay pure Scottish or pure Norwegian. Is that what this country is all about? This is supposed to be the melting pot. We're supposed to come here and supposed to melt with everybody else and just become Americans. Do you ever have a conflict between who you were in Italy and who you are today in the United States?
I guess the biggest conflict happened the first couple of years I was here. I've been here now 10 years. The first couple of years were very hard because, of course, I felt the strength of being Italian, and yet I had a vision of being here for a long time, being married to a Minnesotan. And I decided then that I had to make a choice, and my choice was staying Italian. Not that I refuse anything connected with America, but I need to keep my brain clear. I have to decide which way I want to stay.
Why? Why is that important?
My way of thinking, my way of behaving. See, the first couple of years I was here, I felt very much out of place because my emotions, my behavior were very, somewhere irrational, somewhere too warm, somewhere too hard to take by Scandinavian heritage people. And I felt very much out of place. And I tried to repress my nature. And after a couple of years, I decided the strain was too much.
Now, see, now you say repress your nature, and that's what I think a lot of us, I mean, I think many of us are curious about our ethnic heritage, yet we think, oh, well, no, just forget about it. That's history. That's bygone. Daria Lisi?
Yes.
Daria is Ukrainian, came to the United States in 1951. Now, you were a young girl at that particular time and were switched countries. Now, you still carry on the Ukrainian traditions. Why is it that you were able to hold on to that and so many of us have not?
Well, it's like one of our greatest poets, Taras Shevchenko, said, you should learn about the other countries, but never forget your own traditions and what you are. And that's very important to us Ukrainians. We believe that to be a good American, we have to know the roots of our ancestry. Then we can contribute to the United States in an intelligent way.
What is a Ukrainian? I mean, a lot of people don't know what a Ukrainian is.
A Ukrainian is somebody that is deprived of his own country because it's occupied by the communists now. It has been occupied for many centuries by different people. Now we are living in a free world where we can express what we would like to express, write and read what we would like to read and write, and then pass on our traditions freely to our children, by the way, who love our traditions. They really do.
Marianne Viatras is Polish.
That's right.
Yes. Look, I think she's defensive here. I don't know. I mean, you're right, I'm Polish. You're going to tell me a joke? No? Let me start right off with that. Now, see, everybody reacts to that. Everybody reacts to that. Well, especially the Polish dancers we have in there. Everybody reacts to that. But why is it in our society that has a tendency to, people tell Polish jokes or Polacks or whatever? Why that would make me angry if I was Polish.
Well, it makes me angry too. And fortunately for me, most of my friends kind of stay away. They know not to even try the subject. So, but it's not just the Polish, it's anybody. And as we were talking earlier before, people do that as like a defense mechanism. They want to have somebody that they can make fun of.
In Scotland, as a matter of fact, instead of saying how many, excuse me, I'm being just giving an example, how many Polacks does it take to screw in a light bulb, they'll say how many Englishmen does it take, because the Scottish are always laughing at the Englishmen. Why is it that we tend to do that? Why do we have a fear of someone else? Is this why we sometimes don't hold on to our heritages, because we fear something different than what we know?
I think we always need to have some kind of a release. It's not always good that we're doing it on one particular nationality or race or anything like that. This is just one way that people say, well, I have to express how I feel about this, and I'll just use it, this kind of person and whatever, and tell it that way.
When I come back, I'd like to ask each and every one of you, why is it important to finding your own identity to retain your ethnic heritage, and about passing it on to the kids? Why some people have been able to do it and be successful at it, and while others, even amongst you, it seems to be dying, your ethnic heritage. We will continue with Twin Cities Live right after this.
My new shirt. Mom's gonna kill me. No problem. That's what washing machines are for, right? Right.
Another unreported stain. You know, the kind your family doesn't tell you about till it's through the dryer and set for life. That's why you should add Biz Bleach to every wash load to find many unreported stains and lift them up and away. Even though unreported stains have a way of slipping into your wash, they can't get by Biz.
I'm Steve Edelman.
I'm Sharon Anderson. Coming up on The Next Good Company, a look at the season's most romantic... You can't even say this.
Well, you know why?
Why?
Because we're talking about revealing lingerie fashion. Gets a little choked up when she hears about it.
A little embarrassed, right? You got it out quite nicely.
Well, I'm a big fan. As you know. Sharon won't be modeling a lingerie
No, I will not. I can't even say it, let alone wear it.
Right.
Whatever your interest, on cable TV, you'll not only find programs about it.
Birds. Balloons, eggs.
Often you'll find an entire channel devoted to it.
Sports.
So with cable, you can watch what you want.
Nice.
And you can watch it when you want.
Politics, politics, politics.
For a limited time, you can even have cable TV installed in your home for the price you want. But you've got to call now. 1-800-TV-CABLE.
An invitation for accident victims. If you've been hurt in any accident, you can talk to an attorney who can settle most cases without going to court. And it won't cost you a penny. Just call Swore and Gatto, 690-4300, 690-4300. It's free, so don't miss out on any cash or benefits you may have coming. Call 690-4300 right now, 690-4300. Swore and Gatto are tough, smart, and they'll go after the most money in the least time. Swore and Gatto, 690-4300.
There's a growing problem in America, and you may not even realize who it involves. Now, when I talk about someone sleeping on the street, sleeping in their cars, if they're lucky enough, maybe sleeping in a temporary shelter, you might not think that I'm talking about families, homeless families. It is something that's increasing at an alarming rate in our country. Now, many of the homeless families never thought that it would happen to them, but it did. And on Friday, February 12th, we will meet homeless families and find out why displaced families are on the increase in our country. From Jonathan Kozel, author of Rachel and Her Children. I hope you'll join me. For free studio tickets, 641-1298. Hey, that's a little sweetheart. Can you stand? Can I pick you up and put you on a chair? Oh, there we go. Look at this little sweetheart. What are you dressed up as?
Huh? Norwegian.
Norwegian? Who's this? Is it Grandma?
More.
It's what?
More. That means mother's mother.
Mother's mother in Norwegian. And Swedish, so it goes both ways. And Danish. Who knows? Maybe even a German, who knows? Holidays, traditions that you have in holidays. I mean, do you celebrate holidays differently? I mean, what would be some of the different type? We know St. Patrick's Day. Now, St. Patrick's Day in this country is celebrated, as we know, in St. Paul. I mean, a lot of corned beef and drinking, and I mean, just a lot of wild times. Is that the way it's celebrated in Ireland?
No, it's a much more sober affair in Ireland. It's, well,
literally speaking?
Yes, fairly literally speaking. It's, first of all, it's a religious feast day when we celebrate the coming of Christianity to Ireland, and all Christians of whatever persuasion recognize St. Patrick. And around the main towns and cities there are parades. And it's like our 4th of July. It's National Pride Day, if you wish, where we play our national sports, our national games of hurling and Gaelic football, and there's dancing and food and so on.
Now, Yoshi, do you have St. Patrick's Day in Japan? I mean, do they have anything comparable to that, or?
Well, in Japan, the biggest holiday is New Year's Day. And it is really big, just like Christmas here, in a sense. People, many family members come home and celebrate New Year's Day. It lasts about 1 month, and most of the Japanese people go to shrines and praying for good luck, and so that is the biggest holiday in Japan. And many people wear kimono, especially gorgeous kimono by young women.
Now, for Italians, what would be the big? Isn't there like in August a big?
Christmas is a big
Christmas?
holiday. However, our Christmas time period stretches longer than in the States. The last festivity is on January 6th, and we have what we call Befana, which means, I cannot translate, but Befana is an old lady. It's like a grandmother figure, and in many regions of Italy, she is the one who brings the gifts to the children, not Santa Claus or Babbo Natale, as we say in Italian.
What are some of the strange traditions that you still carry on today? The ones that people will go, no, that's a little different. I mean, Thelma and I were talking, Thelma, that growing up in the South, that it was a big tradition in our family to eat pig's feet and black-eyed peas on New Year's Day for good luck. I mean, you had to do that. Why? I have no idea the reasoning behind that. Did you have any, when you were growing up, traditions that?
One of the reasons, I think, for the pig's feet and black-eyed peas is that if you ate a kind of a poor, inexpensive meal on New Year's Day, your meals would have to increase. They had to get better because they couldn't get any worse.
That's right. It all makes sense to me now. It makes sense to me now. What about Ukrainians? Do they have any kind of different?
Well, the most unusual probably to an American audience would be the Easter, which is our greatest holiday of the year. When we, prior to Easter, we will decorate the Ukrainian Easter eggs, such as I have right here.
Take a look at this. We'll get a tight shot of that.
And,
These are beautiful.
It takes hours and days to decorate one egg like this, but the tradition carries on still from pre-Christianity, when spring was welcomed with all sorts of good wishes on the egg. You'd have a deer or animal that would demonstrate, the wish would be for good wealth, and then a tree for good health, and a bird for fulfillment of wishes. So an egg would be something that you wish each other. Then when we became Christians, which was in 988, by the way, this is our millennium year for the Ukrainian Christianity this year, so we carry on this tradition.
Good morning, you're on Twin Cities Live. Go right ahead. Are you there, caller?
Yes, I'd like to ask the Norwegian how he felt about being around the king.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that earlier. But now for Norwegians, and Swedes, I guess one strange, and I have a great grandmother Swedish, lutefisk. I mean, now is that Norwegian or is it Swedish?
It's both. We call it lutfisk in Swedish.
Lutefisk?
Lutfisk.
I can tell you an interesting story about that. My father told me that when he came to America was when he was introduced to lutefisk. He'd never had it in Norway. And that's true.
And he wished he'd never had it here.
Well,
what, now, everybody laughs about it, you know, and I don't think many people know exactly what it is.
Well, it's dried codfish soaked in lye. And then after it's cured for a period of time, it's rinsed and...
Do you have any idea where that came from, why they started doing that, or what is there?
Well, they had no refrigeration in the early days in the Scandinavian countries, and that was,
the
a
only
way
to
of
preserve it.
curing and preserving the fish, right?
Now, what about Polish people? What's unique about some of their celebrations?
Bob, a gal behind you raised her hand up there.
Oh, where? Oh, right, excuse me.
I'm from Norway.
Oh, go ahead, stand up.
Hey, I've been here 5 years, and as you can tell, I even have my accent. And with regards to the lutefisk, it just so happened it was one of 5 ways to preserve fish, and it's the one that the Norwegians are the least proud of. So that when...
Well, if they're the least proud of it, why do they keep trying to pawn it off on all the rest of us? You know, I don't understand.
I don't know. I mean, because there are so many other good ways of preparing fish that we really like, and what we would serve the king and serve company, and when we come to America, all of a sudden we get this fish that we rather you dump in a dumpster.
So in other words, in Norway, you wouldn't be eating this stuff, would you?
Oh, no.
But there are Norwegians households here that make sure that the children have a bite of this stuff every season.
Christmas Eve, a lot of people have it, I guess. We never had it in our home, but it is very popular. Margaret could probably tell you more about that.
We have it every Christmas, but only at Christmas time.
And you love it, don't you?
Yes, I do. I have taught my husband to like it too. But it has to be prepared right.
Now wait, now let me get back to the Polish people here. Now what's some of the unique celebrations of Polish people?
Our big one, too, I think, is Easter. We're very similar to the Ukrainian with what we share for our heritage. We also have the eggs, not as elaborate as the Ukrainian ones. We have the day after Easter is called Śmigus Dingus, and that's a celebration where the men get the women with water, dump them with water.
Where the men do what?
They dump water on the women.
Men dump water on the women.
That's right. Don't know why. They spend the whole day trying to do that.
Now, for Polish Americans, I would think that would be a hard tradition to continue on today in our society. I mean, do you see much of that now, or?
Well, in my dance group, yes.
Oh, yeah. We have your dance group here today because obviously, when you celebrate your ethnic heritage, are we going to go to break first? Okay, we'll go to a break first, and then we'll do the dance. Because to celebrate your heritage, many of it is carried on by music and dance. So we will continue in just a moment with Twin Cities Live.
Instead, Rye Crisp are much better, the much better alternative. Be smart, eat right, like lively. Be bright, that's right, like lively. Eat smart.
Eat smart with Light and Lively low-fat yogurt. Creamy, fruity yogurt that's low in cholesterol. In economical 6-pack or new 8-ounce size.
Be fit, that's it, like lively. Feeding your body the way that you should. That's good, Light and Lively. Eat smart, that's sense, that's good. Light and Lively, eat smart.
We Americans have more than 1 million auto accidents a year, and that can mean a lot of neck and back injuries. In severe wrecks like these, there's no question about somebody being hurt and knowing it. But many minor fender benders can cause whiplash, neck, and back injuries that sometimes don't produce symptoms until weeks, months, or even years later. If you've ever had an auto accident or other injury and have any of these danger signals...
For more information, call Dr. Richard Van Horn at St. Clair Chiropractic Clinic, 698-6566.
Now, Estee Lauder Laboratories takes skin care as far as our modern technology can go. Introducing Future Perfect Micro-Targeted Skin Gel. This microsome formula gives your skin the luminosity of younger skin. Digitized image analysis developed for the space program shows the actual improvement in the appearance of lines, wrinkles, and smoothness. Try it and feel the future working for you. Now at Dayton's Cosmetics.
Now, from time to time, we like to come on the air during Twin Cities Live and find some of the best experts we could ever find, and that is you, the viewer, when it comes to a particular topic. And we've got an interesting topic for Valentine's Day. And we'd like some of you ladies out there who feel that maybe your husband is not the same man that you married, that maybe he's not as attentive, maybe he doesn't give you flowers anymore, or candy on Valentine's Day. And does that make you mad when he forgets? Does he really fulfill the expectations that you had when you were married? Have they changed your expectations over the years? If they have, and if you feel that it's difficult for a man to live up to a woman's expectations today, we want to hear from you, and we want you to share your story with us on Thursday, February 11th on Twin Cities Live as we celebrate Valentine's Day, as we explore the wonder of relationships. And can a man ever live up to a woman's expectations? The number to call, 641-1298. Welcome back to Twin Cities Live. We have a caller on the phone. Good morning. Go right ahead.
Yes, Bob, good morning. My name is Rainer Tonsky. I'm of German heritage, and United States consists of 40% of German heritage. Minnesota is 48% of German. How come you don't have any representatives of German heritage there?
Right behind you.
Well, just a moment, sir. funny you should ask. Go ahead, stand up. Tell them where you're from.
I'm from Leipzig, East Germany, and then I escaped to West Germany to Stuttgart, and then I ended up sort of round away in Minnesota. And Minnesota is a lot like Germany.
In what ways?
The climate, the woods, the little hills, not the big mountains, but the little...
Are there a lot of Germans here, as he said, in Minnesota, in the Twin Cities, a big German community?
Well, yeah, but except you don't get as much German food like in Chicago. There is a lot more imported, but it's nice. It reminds me a lot of Germany.
What would you consider to be the biggest tradition of your heritage, of your ethnic heritage? What's the biggest tradition that you try to carry on?
The food, and morals, and a little ways the way we eat with a knife and fork.
What do you mean, the way you eat with a knife and fork? I mean,
when I came here to the States, the first thing I know, people pick up the food with their fingers, with their hands, and eat, or they hold their knife and fork like a, and then, but you don't do that. And then they eat corn with their, looks like a rabbit. But I like...
Barbarians over here, aren't we? We just know...
Yeah. I took my daughter home to Germany. My dad was just appalled the way she eats. And he couldn't understand that she doesn't pick up a sandwich and just eats it. So he...
How do you, if you don't mind asking, how do you eat an ear of corn if you don't just pick it up and eat it?
Corn.
Well, you don't eat corn. Well, that solves the problem. I mean, that solves the problem. Now, I want to get back because we have from a Polish dance troupe, Marianne, what's the name again? Let me get over here because you don't have a wireless mic on. Go ahead.
The name of the group is Dolina, and Dolina means of the valley.
All right, now what are you going to do here? What's special about this dance?
Well, these are some dances and songs from Nowy Sącz in Poland. The costumes that we have on are from Nowy Sącz from Poland, very heavy men's costumes here. It's just typical, it's somewhat in the mountain area, so it's just kind of typical of the region and the people.
This is something you'd see in Poland, right? Hopefully. Okay, well, here we go. Go ahead. more of Twin Cities Live in just a moment. We'll continue.
I'm home. Your dog is home. You ready to eat, huh? Okay, let's see the menu. Whoa, Kraft. All right.
Introducing Kraft frozen entrees with the kind of quality you know your family's gonna love.
Hey, Dad, a little taste for your pal.
A young lady called your son today.
Who cares? How about some of that lasagna?
Rex!
Timmy, my man, I'm begging you. Hey, don't take that last piece.
New Kraft frozen entrees. Quality everybody will love.
Hey!
Well, almost everybody.
Good morning.
Day's looking new and bright.
It's Monday again.
And you're gonna start it right.
Traffic's tied up.
'Cause there's Folgers for you that's decaffeinated too. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Mornings brighten with mountain-grown Folgers decaffeinated. Mountain-grown coffee beans have a more enticing aroma.
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Decaffeinated.
What would make a woman turn to another woman for an intimate relationship and turn away from the man she once loved? On the next Oprah Winfrey Show, meet married women who divorced their husband for a committed relationship to a woman, and single women who've decided a relationship with a woman would make them happier. They're women who turn to lesbianism on the next Oprah Winfrey Show.
Tuesday afternoon at 4 on Channel 5.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Valentine. I'm here at the beautiful Villa Apartments, Lakeshore Village on Lake Minnetonka. I love the little touches like someone else shoveling the snow. You'll love seeing this gorgeous villa. And what a view of the lake. There's plenty to do here. Old favorites, new friends, and warm underground parking. But the best surprise of all, rents start at $625. Call 471-6100.
Hi, I'm Wendy Lubavitch. Be sure to join me later today for Eyewitness News Midday. We'll be live from the state capitol for the start of the 1988 legislative session. That's today at 11:30.
Welcome back. Now, before I get into, because I want to talk about this, passing it on to kids, because I think that a lot of these traditions are dying right now in our country. Let me go to Yoshi. And Yoshi, you're going to give us a big tradition as far as Japan is martial arts. And you're carrying, is that a way that you're carrying on some of your heritage?
Yes, it's my part of my heritage. And martial art is mainly practiced not for self-defense, as a matter of fact, because Japan is one of the safest countries, if you see statistics. So the main reason they practice martial art is to train themselves. It's a confidence, and also, second reason is the health. Then third is the self-defense.
Well, give me a quick demonstration here. What you would do.
For instance, Aikido this is called Aikido, and this is often introduced as non-violent martial art because you do not rely on your muscles. And at my university, more women were taking, this martial art. And
Okay.
I'd like to show you, one for instance, when somebody is trying to stab you or punch in your stomach, what you have to do is like something like, please come, this way, then down, this way, and also very easy one, for instance, somebody suddenly grabs you this way, then there is a very effective way to get rid of this kind of situation. This way. It seems really easy, but it really hurts. Would you like to try?
No. No, I take your word for it, Yoshi. So now the mental discipline and all that, does that play a role in all this as far as, Japanese, I mean, they're very much into that, the mental discipline of things.
Yes, yes. It is really for children's education too. In order to be successful in your life, you have to know how to control yourself, not let everything go naturally, but certain things you have to be patient or confident or many such self-discipline.
So there are lessons to be learned from it. In fact, many traditions teach children lessons as far as carrying on traditions. Thank you, Yoshi. That was very good. Go ahead.
Hello, how are you? Yes, I am Rabbi Gershom, and my ancestors came here from Poland between World War I and World War II. And in listening to the discussion of preserving traditions, you know, we, in our house, we do it. Unfortunately, my stepchildren are not. They're Americanized, I suppose. They don't wear the hair. This is real, by the way. This is the real Polish past. I guess the thing that was occurring to me is it's very important to pass these things on. My sadness is because there is no longer that culture in Europe for us. The Holocaust killed off. There were 3 million Jews.
And if the children aren't carrying it on, then it'll die with you. Those traditions will literally die and be gone.
That's right. See, I'm a folklorist, a storyteller, and I tell the stories of the Hasidic Jews, and many of the Jews in America, and the non-Jews too. They can't picture what that world was like.
But what is lost? If you lose that, what is lost to you?
Well, what is lost to me is a vast culture of stories, teachers, saints and sinners, beggars, poets, names of people who lived and died in little villages. You know, that's part of my blood. So for myself, because those places aren't there, I tell the stories and I try and preserve the names and teachings of those people in that way.
Now, who has had problems carrying their ethnic heritage onto their children? I mean, do your children care? Do you find that they care?
Yes, I am speaking from, coming from Ireland. My 2 smaller children have some difficulty because they wanted to blend in with the scene quite a bit. So I find that when they're out playing with their friends, they are totally Minnesotan. They acquire
totally Minnesotan. We're going to have to define Minnesotan in a minute. I don't know why.
Yes.
Because that's going to be a tough one.
They speak Minnesotan out with their friends. We try to continue on with what culture we have in the home, such as speaking the Irish language, or the music, or the stories.
But now, Margaret, in your case, with your children, I mean, do they care?
I think they do care about the traditions very much. The language is another story. It's not a language.
How old are they?
They are 18 and 21.
Okay. Now, do they really get into it, or do they just do it because you happen to like it?
Well, I don't know. No, I think that they're very proud to have their mother come from Sweden. And
you know, if I can just interrupt a second, Bob. I've been dancing for a long time, and I remember when we were younger, it was really a lot for us to get together for practices, but it's been very important for us as we've gotten older. In fact, I've regretted.
Why is it important?
Because I've had the chance to go to Poland and visit my relatives, and I've regretted yelling at my mom and dad, why didn't you teach us Polish when, you know, we had all these years? And that Polish was only spoke when it was Christmas time, and you didn't know what the gifts were going to be, you know, so.
There's a neat way to figure out how to keep the kids from finding out. Go ahead.
I'm Ukrainian, and I got grandchildren, which are Mrs. Liz's children, and they were born here. They are fluent in Ukrainian, speaking and talking and writing, and they do care. I thought they are American, and they consider this is their country, but our heritage, what I brought, what my daughter brought from the old country, they treasure.
But isn't this the exception rather than the rule?
I can hitchhike on what this lady is saying.
Now, go ahead.
2 of our grandchildren are really becoming interested in Norwegian and in the language.
You said no, it's not. It's not an exception.
No, I'm a 20-year-old Latvian, and my first language, I'm born here, first generation out. My parents left in 1945. I speak fluent Latvian. That was my first language. I continue to speak it, and when I went to Latvia just recently...
But now, your parents came here from... When did your parents come to this country?
In 1945, they fled Latvia. It's a small northern Baltic country that is under Soviet rule right now, as is Ukraine.
But now, you have carried on that heritage and that tradition, but what about 2, 3 generations down the road? In my family, that was not the case, because so many generations have passed. Slowly but surely, it gets watered down with each generation that eventually it dies out.
This is true. But in studying the 3 Baltic states and their heritage, a lot of Lithuanians are 3rd or 4th generation out of Lithuania, and in the 3rd or 4th, there is usually a rebirth of pride and heritage. And I know for one thing, I will marry a Latvian girl, I will have Latvian children, they will speak Latvian, and if I have anything to do with it, they are going to live in Latvia free and happy the way they want to be. I've been arrested for doing this, and I'm going to continue. And so
now, I see. Now, this would be an extreme, though, I would think. I mean, this is a little bit more to that. Is it going to, as generations go down the road, isn't it going to eventually
Well, I belong to a church that has several generations of Ukrainians. The church was built in 1925, so you can see when they came. And a lot of those people still speak Ukrainian, still teach their children the heritage. Their children may not speak fluent Ukrainian, but they're still proud of being Ukrainians. Just like my children, who were all born here.
But now, do you have to be Ukrainian, or maybe what I'm trying to say here, is it a nationality? Does it have to be sort of a unique nationality with some unique traditions to be able to carry it on with the children? I mean, I don't have much tradition other than the fact that I was raised in the South. Thelma, I mean, what, you know, beyond the food and the experience of growing up in the South, I mean, what?
A greater tradition than the food with me is my religious experience, my background. My father was a minister, and my mom raised 10 children, 5 boys and 5 girls. We had 13, 3 died earlier.
So that's important in your life, and that's how you carried it on. You're going to sing for us in just a little bit, aren't you?
Sure.
Good. We'll be right back with Twin Cities Live.
What's the easiest way to top a salad with Velveeta? Try new Velveeta Shreds. Finally, easy-to-use shreds of the great Velveeta taste no other shreds can match. That's new Velveeta Shreds. Original or Mexican.
I'm home. Your dog is home. You ready to eat, huh? Okay, let's see the menu. Whoa, Kraft. All right.
Introducing Kraft frozen entrees with the kind of quality you know your family's gonna love.
Hey, Dad, a little taste for your pal.
A young lady called your son today.
Who cares? How about some of that lasagna?
Rex!
Timmy, my man, I'm begging you. Hey, don't take that last piece.
New Kraft frozen entrees. Quality everybody will love.
Hey!
Well, almost everybody.
Aloha, I'm Ed Hogan, owner of Pleasant Wine Holidays. Why do we call it pleasant? First, you get a pleasant, affordable price for a week in Waikiki that includes airfare and hotel. Plus, you get a pleasant greeting, a pleasant trip to and from your hotel, and pleasant people always on hand to assist you.
What a pleasant way to go to Hawaii.
Pleasant Hawaiian Holidays. See your travel agent. We make paradise affordable.
Attention, accident victims. If you've been hurt in any accident, you can talk to an attorney who can settle most cases without going to court, and it won't cost you a penny. Call Swore and Gatto, 690-4300, 690-4300. It's free, so don't miss out on any cash or benefits you may have coming. Call 690-4300 right now, 690-4300. Swore and Gatto know exactly how to get exactly what you want. Swore and Gatto, 690-4300.
Do men really prefer dumb women? Find out from the smartest woman in the world and others. Sparks will fly on the next Barometer.
Tuesday mornings at 10 on Channel 5. You're watching KSTP TV, your Olympics.
Being a parent, what is your worst nightmare? I mean, what's the thing you worry about the most? It has to be, are my children safe? Now, every day we bring people into our own homes and entrust them with our children. Now, how much do we really know about those people? I mean, how much do we investigate their backgrounds and who they are and where they come from? Have you had a bad experience with a babysitter, at-home caretaker, or maybe nanny live-in? If you have, we would like to hear your story and possibly have you share it with us on Twin Cities Live on Thursday, February 18th. Are our children really safe with a babysitter that we have chosen? The number to call is 641-1298. We'd like to hear your story. You know, one thing before, Thelma's going to sing us a song in just a second, but one thing, to carry this on, your ethnic heritage, do you have to be full-blooded Swede, full-blooded Norwegian? Because all of us really, you know, my great-grandfather was German, my great-grandmother was Swedish, on the other side there were Scots. I mean, who knows what I have in my background? But, I mean, do you have to have that?
I don't think you do. It may help, you know, because you only have one nationality to concentrate on. But even looking at my dance group, most of us are all Polish, but we have those of other nationalities, Ukrainian or whatever. And there's one thing here in the Twin Cities, it's called the Festival of Nations. It's held every year at the St. Paul Civic Center. That's where people can go and learn about their nationalities, whether it's their own nationality or anybody else's. And it's just a wonderful experience, and I think it helps.
Now, Thelma's going to sing us a song because spiritual music played an important role in your family and still does and carrying over. And Reverend Battle, nice to see you again. Now, give me a couple of words about what this means.
All right, the greatest contribution black people have made to America and the world is our religion. And our religion is the greatest tradition to us. And it offers something to the whole world. And I wish we could get back to it. Religion, regardless of what you eat, what kind of clothes you wear, a little religion warms the inside and sweetens the personality.
In each and every nationality, religion plays a lot of role as far as ethnic heritage. I see all my guests nodding their head in so many different ways. Yeah. Speaking of soul, Thelma's going to give us a little bit. Thelma, go right ahead.
Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. I am tired, I am weak, Lord, I'm upon thy breath, for my hope and all of my faith is in thee. Hear my cry, Lord, hear my call, and hold my hand. Please don't let me fall. And oh, take my hand, precious Lord, lead me on.
We'll be right back.
If you can see the clear difference between this lens and this lens, you should see the difference from in here.
The Pentax AR code, now at Benson Optical. This is a breakthrough.
You're all tired and you look at your homework and you open up the first page and you go, I'm not going to do it.
Is your teenager pushing too hard, dividing time between work and school, coming home too exhausted to study? If your child holds down a part-time job, he might be selling his future short for the sake of a little spending money. Tuesday, what educators, parents, and teenagers think in a special assignment report on working teens, only on Minnesota's News Channel 5.
Use Lime Away every day, and you won't have hard water stains.
We're small town, homegrown, made the way you make your own pizza. Tombstone, we're a ladle on and loaded up with lots of mozzarella on the pizza. Tombstone,
we pile on the goodness, we're loaded with real cheese.
We're sure the taste of Tombstone's gonna please, or to please your families. We're a small town, homegrown, made the way you make your own pizza. Tombstone, made the way you make your very own. Tombstone.
My thanks to my guests for joining us today. Stand up, you've got a comment. Reminder, tomorrow we will have atheists and Christians tomorrow. We'll talk about freedom of religion. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a comment why I'm so proud of my Polish heritage and why I'd like to continue it. It's because when I look at the way the stories of our culture are expressed through song or dance or through our traditions, it reminds me of the struggles that my ancestors have gone through. And it makes me look at how wonderful and how proud I am to be an American, to have the abundance of blessings that we do today.
Well said. Does it add to being an American?
No
Because
question about it.
holding? Go ahead.
Fantastic. And I think all of our upbringing and all of our background really makes us better citizens. I really do. Just great.
Well said. Well said. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you.
Accommodations for guests on Twin Cities Live, provided by the new Whitney Hotel, located city side of the Mississippi overlooking St. Anthony Falls. Henderson chauffeured Cadillacs provide limousine transportation for the guests of Twin Cities Live. Henderson's offers the largest selection of color, style, and service in the 5-state area. Hair and makeup provided by Take 5, 504 North 1st Avenue in the Butler Building.
I want to thank my guests for being with us today. I hope you continue on any tradition you have in your family. Bill Gilchrist, who is a fellow Scot, will take us out with the bagpipes. We'll see you tomorrow morning on Twin Cities Live. Thanks for being with us.
For getting in shape and staying in shape, the Wells Blue Bunny says hi to a light dessert.
High in flavor.
Light in calories.